Hello and welcome to Living Wisdom, Huachuma Ceremony Preparation and Information. I'm Amanda Eloesh, and it's good to have you here choosing to show up and prepare yourself in a good way. I want to start our time together by giving thanks to the sacred medicine of Huachuma, to the lineages, to the teachers, to the medicine carriers that have worked with these medicines for thousands of years and have passed down the healing and the traditions forward, and giving thanks to my teachers and specifically to Medicine Path Native American Church, um, previously led and guided by George Gray Eagle, who passed in 2023, and his teacher Barrett Eagle Bear and her teacher Norbert Running, and the Shichangu branch of the Lakota tribe, and they're opening up to all who come in a good way and inviting people outside the tribe in, and giving thanks to this sacred Wapo land that I'm on right now, sharing this wisdom with you, this information with you, and grateful to everything that's greater than us that wishes us well, that are supporting these medicine ceremonies happening in a good way. And thank you again for choosing up to show up in a good way and prepare yourself, not just in a practical sense, but spiritually and with cultural awareness and mindfulness. I'll share very briefly, although I mentioned it in the larger general Living Wisdom ceremony preparation video, that and I mentioned in the prayer I just offered, George Gray Eagle is my spiritual teacher in the Huachuma tradition, and Medicine Path is a part of the ONAC, the Okla Native American Church, which is more open to people, light-skinned people who are outside of the tribe, and offering ministry to others who are outside of the Native and First Nations tribe members. So really grateful for this privilege and opportunity to be here to serve this medicine and to share this information with you. Huachuma, as opposed to a lot of other medicines, tends to be very, very tolerant, meaning that there aren't really contraindications for medication in general or for diet. And I had never actually received any list of don't eat this before a medicine ceremony. And that being said, it can still be very, very helpful to have a really clean diet coming in, because so if you imagine, if you're wanting to be filled up with something healing and elevating and supportive, it's great to make sure that you're as cleared out as possible. So we still recommend, but it's not as mandatory. We recommend a clean whole foods diet, avoiding dairy, avoiding sugar, avoiding alcohol and red meat, and to just keep it simple. Some people ask, should I fast beforehand? That's really up to you. I've done both. And especially if you're somebody who has a hard time fasting, go ahead and have a nice hearty breakfast. I've done that, and then there have been times when I've fasted, and just know that it's likely you're going to have a stronger experience if you fast. This medicine is very heart opening and creates a lot of clarity. And when people say, well, what's the Huachuma medicine about? Those are the two pieces that really come in, that I've experienced for myself, that I've witnessed other people experiencing and sharing, that it's really very heart opening. And I have heard rumor that the MDMA that was developed was patterned after mescaline, which is the psychoactive element in Huachuma, also known as San Pedro. In the Lakota tradition, the Huachuma medicine is considered the medicine of limitless and unconditional joy, and is represented by the hummingbird. Doesn't mean that you're free from grief. It doesn't mean you're free from challenge and trial. But I have actually experienced that. That was the first, when I first sat in Huachuma ceremony on New Year's of 2010. George Gregel said, you know, you can make a prayer for limitless and unconditional joy. And I just thought, wow, that's amazing. I'd love that. What would that be like? And I have been able to experience more and more, even with health challenges, even with great loss, heartache, that there's still also sitting right next to it, because of the prayer and the ongoing work with and receptivity of the medicine of Huachuma, this experience of a great joy for life and a great gratitude for life. So this is available to you. Many people ask, how is it compared to ayahuasca? Because that's another, or psilocybin. I would say that in general, it tends to be less visual. So if you tend to be a visual person, you're likely to see visual. And as with many plant medicines or entheogens, it tends to make all of the senses a lot more sensitive. So for me, colors seem to be vibrating and swirling, and everything seems more multidimensional. But it tends to be less on the visual side and more on the, like, really dropping into what's going on in the heart, really dropping into clarity about things that maybe in the psychic realm, there's a lot of static interference. It just tends to clear a lot of that away and create clarity. And I love that this medicine can feel very strong and yet very gentle at the same time, which seems like a paradox. And I've experienced that for myself pretty much every single Huachuma ceremony, and heard other people say, oh, it's amazing how it can feel so strong and yet so gentle. People tend to not purge as often, but it's always a blessing when you purge. And as in the previous, or in the ceremonial prep video, there can be a lot of different ways that you purge. It's always a blessing when you can let something out of your system immediately and as swiftly as possible. So let it go in whatever way it comes out. You may notice that before, during, and after, and I mentioned this previously, that things can fall apart if it serves your prayer. So be prepared for that. Also, I tend to notice there's this particular vibration and feeling of the medicine and what my prayer feels like. And it's like the medicine helps me to really get to the actual heart of my prayer, beyond fear, beyond survival, beyond the ego, and really helps me to drop in, what is the prayer that I'm making with my creator, or my creator is making with me, or inviting me to step into. And it has a particular frequency that, moving forward, even after the ceremony, it helps to create clarity in that. Does this feel like my prayer? And if it does, then that's a yes. And if it doesn't, then that's a no. And that's where the clarity comes from with whatever decisions come your way that you need to face. It becomes a very much clearer yes, no. So specifically for the Huachuma ceremonies, they're different than other ceremonies that we do. It's more communal, meaning that we have 3 rounds of prayer, and with each round, I'll start with myself, offering myself medicine and making a prayer, and then we go around clockwise around the circle. That's part of the Lakota tradition. And you come up and you share your name. You let me know if you don't want like a regular dose, which is about a tablespoon mixed in with organic lemon and spring water. I do plus or minus just based on, if you're a large person, you're going to probably need a little bit more. If you're a small person, you're probably going to need a little less. And if we've had a conversation beforehand, which we often do, I may remember, okay, this person's sensitive, but you can let me know. I want a homeopathic amount. I want the full amount, uh, small-ish, microdose. And some people choose to just drink the lemon water, or just, we've had put a little pinch in somebody's hand and they've made a prayer. Please always honor. Sometimes you have an intention for ingesting or not ingesting, and then you show up and your body's really connected with the experience in the ceremony, and you're like, okay, I'm feeling it already. I don't need to ingest any, which has happened for me. Or you may choose, oh yeah, I do actually want to ingest and I wasn't planning. So it's always up to you. You can always change your mind. We share our prayers, and we share the clear and simple prayer that George Gregel wrote a whole book about. It's beautiful, clear and simple prayer. And the basics of the clear and simple prayer are to offer some gratitude. It's always really a good idea to show up to receive help by first offering gratitude. Thank you for this day. Thank you for my life. Thank you for the help. Thank you for this safe and sacred space to pray. Just something that you're grateful for, to show up that way. And then, what are you asking for help for? And it's really, George Gregel talks about, and I really agree, to not tell the medicine what you need, meaning, well, I really need my partner to understand that he's got to do something about his anger. That's praying for specifics, and it's praying for other people to change. And this medicine and all medicines that I work with and honor your inalienable sovereignty. They honor everybody's sovereignty. And so it could be simply, I need help in elevating my relationship, or I need help with clarity on my relationship. I need help in learning how to navigate my relationship in a better way. So asking for the help and avoiding telling the medicine the specific outcome that you expect to receive as an answer for your prayer really creates a really beautiful and aligned way that works with how the medicine has its intentions for you. When and as I mentioned, we have 3 rounds of prayer. So we'll start with me. We go all the way around. You come up, you say your name, you let me know if you want something other than a regular dose. I'll mix the medicine in, and you make your prayer and drink. We use some words like mitakoyasi. Mitakoye oyasin is how it's pronounced if you really delineate each syllable. And it means all my relations. It means for all my relations, because of all my relations, on behalf of all my relations. It's a constant remembering of the interconnectedness of all things, and also the choice to do this work for ourselves, but also for all beings as well. So weaving it together, expanding it, and it's also a way of completing. So if you don't remember that word, that's totally fine. You'll hear it throughout the day. You can say that feels complete. You can say for all my relations. You can say amen, ashe, whatever works for you, just to let us know. It's a great way to send it off, to say I'm complete. We use the word aho a lot, which means that's my prayer too. And this is one of the beautiful things about the Huachuma and the communal nature of it, is that you may come in with a specific prayer. I need help with my health. I really want to have better health and understand what I need to do to make my body temple a healthier, more vital vessel. And somebody else may make a prayer about something completely different that's like, oh yeah, that I could use some of that too. And you can say aho to that. And that means you're participating in and getting the benefit of that prayer as well. And the beautiful thing about that is it really starts to help us recognize how much we have in common. And somebody may make a prayer that it's not your prayer now, but that was your prayer last month or last year, or you can really relate to it. And that's the beautiful thing about sharing our prayers in a sacred container of the Hochoka, which means the sacred community, or the Teospai, which is the people that we're breathing together with. It really helps us to be mindful of how much we can relate to other people when we drop into the clear and simple prayer. So you can say aho when you hear a prayer that resonates for you, that you want some of that as well. And then wopila means I like that. It means yay. It's a celebratory exclamation. That's one of the reasons we call the potluck the wopila, because we're usually very happy to hear about that at the end. We're excited about eating food together. So we have these 3 rounds of prayer. You'll hear those words. Palamae means thank you, and you may hear that in some of the songs that are shared in the sound healing. After each round of prayer, we will have a couple of different things, and it will be in different order, just depending on the sense of what our body needs are, but they will happen after every round of prayer. One is we'll have a break where you can go to the bathroom, you can refill your water, you can step outside and get some fresh air. And then the other thing is we do a form of a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic integration round, which includes a combination of some different kinds of breath work, awareness of what the breath is doing in the body, and some movement. And so we're tuning in to being aware of how we're opening up our body, we're opening up spaciousness energetically, emotionally, mentally, to allow the medicine to really move more freely. And we're doing the best we can to release energetic and physical blocks so that the medicine can really be optimized in our system. You're always welcome to do whatever feels good for you. If we're standing up and moving our bodies and you need to stay still, that's perfectly all right. If you want to do some kind of different movement that feels organic and good to you, that's great. There's no judgment about that. We really encourage you to honor the wisdom in your own inner, in your heart knowing, and to act on that. That is really great. So never worry about, well, nobody else is doing this, or maybe I should do this because everybody else is. So really honor that for yourself. And so after the 3rd round, we will have a bigger break where I will put the medicine away. I'll do my own body break as well. I'll have recorded music on, and this will be a time for you to, do what feels called for. Oftentimes people are putting their pads down, they're making their little nests, they're getting nice and comfortable, they're getting into a place of repose. You may feel like I need to move my body, I need to stretch, I need to shake, I need to do yoga, I need to dance, whatever is good for you. It's perfect. But we'll have this is when we kind of go like the medicine is in us and we're starting to lift off and go into the journey that the medicine is giving each of us as an individual. So we start out in a collective, witnessing the prayers, holding the prayers together, and then we kind of go off in our own individual journey. Myself and my assistant or assistants will be available to support you. I often like to, after I'm taking care of the medicine and physical body break, I like to sit down at the altar and drop in and really make a connection with the medicine and the altar and source, and tune in to receive the transmission to offer through the sound healing. And I'll get ready for the sound healing. I'll set up the bowls and the other instruments. Please do your best to avoid those instruments, especially on the floor, to walk around them, give them a wide berth. Please don't step over instruments. They're creating an energetic connection with source. And so it's good to walk around. It's considered a sign of respect to not step over things that are part of an altar, and my instruments are a part of my altar. When I drop in and feel, because I don't do it as a performance, and I don't do it as a I ought to or I should. For me, I really take time to drop in and let a transmission come through, so that what I share is source moving through me. And so I'll be sitting at my altar. If you need something and one of my assistants is not available, please come and ask me. It's okay to interrupt that, to ask me for some help. Just know, when I'm sitting at my altar, I'm not ignoring. I'm really dropping in deep, tuning in, so that I can really listen deeply to what needs to come through for the ceremony that we're in. When people are offering their prayers, it's helpful to just be a sacred witness and to really hold their best and highest in high regard, and really imagine them getting the healing. This is a powerful, we're stepping into a unified field of consciousness and sharing in a vulnerable way. It's vulnerable to share what you need help with. My health isn't that great. I would like it to be better. My relationship isn't that great. I would like it to be better. Whatever it is, it's a very vulnerable experience. And when we can hold everybody in high regard and see them in the highest light, in the highest elevation of possibility, that is truly one of the most powerful medicines that we can provide. Long before I knew I was going to be serving medicine, I felt very called to offer prayer ceremonies, because in a safe and sacred container, when we can be vulnerable and feel safe and held in high regard by the other people who are in that unified field of consciousness that's consciously raising together, is really the stuff of miracles. So it's really helpful to not drop into advice giving or commentary. Sometimes I may offer some help, some support. If somebody's having a struggle, sometimes it can be hard to break out of, I've got this really heavy narrative going on and I'm going to repeat it. And that kind of brings all this heavy stuff into the unified field of consciousness. And I may help with elevating that prayer, like talk about what you do want, instead of going into the story about what you don't want or what happened a long time ago that's painful. It's not that we're denying it. It's just that our words are very, very powerful. And what we're offering in that rarefied field is an invocation. And so it's really, really helpful to speak the things we want to manifest, especially with these sacred witnesses who are also imagining it and wanting to lift it up for us. And if we're talking about heavy, hard, painful, wounding things, it's hard to know what it's hard to see the absence of it. Like, don't think of a pink elephant, right? So it's really helpful to be as relaxed as possible, to stay open and curious about what the medicine is bringing you in answer to your prayer. Huachuma tends to be significantly milder than peyote. And so if you've heard, a lot of times people are more familiar with peyote than San Pedro or Huachuma. And think about, crazy psychedelic trips. And as I mentioned before, the Huachuma has a way of being very strong and very gentle and not tending to be as visual, but it is very profound and sometimes hard to even understand how that medicine can be both at the same time until you actually step in. And I encourage you to stay open and curious about what this medicine is and what this medicine is bringing to you as an answer to your prayer. Most people are able to get up and walk and go to the bathroom and get water and navigate pretty easily. But if you need help, please ask for help at any point, whether you're having physical trouble, trouble navigating, trouble taking care of your needs, or in a heavy state, please always ask for help. At the end of our ceremony, that medicine is very clear. It doesn't tend to be sneaky and come in waves where you think you're grounded and then here it comes again. It tends to come up and then come back down. It can be a longer experience if you have a high dose or are very sensitive. Mescaline can tend to be a longer experience. However, we don't usually have it in super high doses. And every ceremony is different. We've had interesting experiences where the group seems to all launch really quickly and get really, really high and then ground in really, really early. And it's a really profound, strong experience that ends in 4 hours. We've had it go into overtime or it's 8 or 9 hours. I had a recent private ceremony with Huachuma, regular dose, that went for 24 hours. But in general, we are usually complete and even cleaning up from our potluck, our wopila, and people are often heading home by around 9. Whatever is happening for you is happening for you, and please don't judge it. Oftentimes you're feeling the medicine around 45 minutes in, which is typical of most medicines, but I've sometimes felt it, the day I wake up and I'm getting ready for ceremony, I'm feeling it. Some people walk in and they're like, whoa, wow, I feel the medicine so strong right now. So give yourself permission to have a different experience. Remember that it's the great mystery. There can be a lot of variety in how this medicine shows up for you. Let go of your expectations and comparisons with other people that have had this experience and told you about theirs, or other people that are in the ceremony. The tradition with the Huachuma is to really give yourself 4 days to integrate and to let yourself not know anything, to really just stay curious, present, tuning in to what's happening in your body, your mind, your spirit, in your relationships, in the circumstances in your life, to journal, but to give things 4 days. That's a sacred number in most Native American traditions, and definitely with the Lakota medicine path tradition. Give yourself 4 days to really feel like, especially if there's a big thing that you feel like you need to make a decision about. Sometimes the clarity can just come through and feel very, very strong. That's great, honor. And sometimes it can feel very strong and then change over those 4 days. So just keep that in mind. We will reach out and follow up with you. It is really, really helpful for us to hear back from you because we share such a deep, powerful experience and we put so much time and prayer. We pray for you by name beforehand. We hold you in our hearts. And so we love to hear from you. We love to stay connected. We're here to build community. Please don't suffer through anything on your own. Please don't struggle through anything on your own. Please reach out to us. Please respond when we send the email to say, hey, how are you doing? Here's a reminder about integration. Remember that in the preparation information that had the link to these preparation videos, there's also an integration video in that same, right underneath the link. There's an integration video. We strongly recommend that you watch that as soon afterwards as possible. It will support you and help you to remember how to integrate in a good way. And please always know we're here for you, and we'll do everything we can to support you as best we can. And we are very much looking forward to praying with you. Thank you again for bringing your mindful awareness, your presence to this work. And we are looking forward to praying with you. And until we get to connect again, may the source be with you.